So what we want to demonstrate is exactly what Ezra just described. We have a small setup. It's an on-prem setup, VMware-based. 4 of the nodes are dedicated storage nodes, and another 4 that, yes, so we do count them, that it's a good thing to know. We count them as nodes because they participate in some of the logic, but actually they are not running most of the, they are not running storage logic, just file system termination logic on each of the application nodes. So you have 4 application servers.
Okay,
and
so the big questions are, do I pay for that?
Pay in terms
in
of
dollars.
You pay in terms of, yes, of course, it takes resources. So nothing is free. But it has some sort of trade-off. You don't have to do that. We support also what we call the external mode, where you can run NFS over the wire. The issue is that I hope to convince you and the customer that you're better off doing that, because once you're doing that, we are the ownership of the networking issues. For example, networking, multipathing, and networking topology and networking failures are handled automatically in this mode. If you don't want that,
well, if you support SMB, fully support SMB3, SMB3 can handle that. If VMware properly supported NFS 4.1, NFS 4.1
yes,
could handle that.
Yeah, that is correct. SMB 3 and also NFS 4.1 and above have some support of the issues. They sadly not in the level of what you can expect from a block layer, for example.
Okay.
In block, it just works. In file systems,
so I do pay for the client in dollars.
yes, but
I'm fine with paying in compute resources,
yes,
but I'm paying in dollars.
For dollars, okay. Don't ask me that. No. Now you get me into trouble. I don't know. No, I'm not.
Okay, Alon.
No, you are not. We are not node-based. But don't ask me, please, don't ask. Yes. So you don't. If that was your question, sorry, I didn't get you. No, you don't get.
Right. No, because with vSAN, if I've got a node that only consumes storage but doesn't provide storage, I have to pay the same amount in dollars as I do for the ones that provide storage.
I'm very glad that I don't have to do the pricing from VMware. They have their own pricing.
Okay.
We are trying to match to be even in the pricing model, and this is not a very good question for me, but I still understand the logic. We try to be even there cloud compatible, so we tend to be subscription based and not node based. Okay. So what we see here is a 4 nodes dedicated storage with 4 application nodes. The data network is 10 gig. It's a dual 10 gig network. We support anything starting from 10 gig and above. We also adding support for RDMA, but again, we will never require that. Another thing to see here, I think we covered everything. Yes, we did, Ezra?
I think so.
Yeah. Okay, so now to the demo itself. So what we are going to demonstrate is a node failure downsizing. This is, again, the same console. This is on-prem, VMware-based. You see you have 4 backend nodes. Each of them have 6 devices. And in a few seconds, you will see the load. This is OLTP kind of load. If I'm not mistaken, in 7030. No, it's read. But it's a 4K random read, just as an example. And now we are turning off this server using the IPMI to be very nasty.
Power it off.
Yes.
Using getting up and unplugging it.
That's
Well,
better.
especially since it's not in the room.
Yeah, look, now we identify immediately the issue. It's less than a second we identify the issue. And you will see it takes, we produce a proper alert. And you will see that in several seconds, the management subsystem identify that and reporting this. You see, we identified almost immediately that it's out of reach. But we don't know, for a few seconds, management-wise, we don't know how to treat with that. It's an unclear situation. But after a few seconds, it's becoming fenced. So it's not playing in the game. So I don't know if you're able to see, or I hope you can see, that you cannot see any hiccup in the I/O profile, because we did that so fast that it's not something visible outside. As Ezra said, specific I/Os can be affected, and instead of being 1 to 1, something like 1 millisecond can be 100 milliseconds, but that should be very, very few I/Os. In that, and immediately, I don't know if you see it in the upper right side, recovery is started. Recovery and rebuild and redistribution is started. You have nothing to do. Just watch it progressing. That's how it should be. You see here also, note that because we are controlling also part of the application node, we see them also here because we're monitoring also the health of the application nodes. And you see that, can you stop it? Yeah. What the guy did here is that after the failure, he identified the failure, the system already rebuilt itself, everything is okay, it just wants to take this server away, okay? So he just removing the server. Now, as you see, the system is healthy because it is just a healthy 3 nodes system, and after a few seconds, this node will disappear as the data itself already was distributed and rebuilt during the failure process. Okay? That's how we like our processes to be. It's very, 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 very complex. In fact, Ezra simplified most of the thing to a very large extent. But from the user side, it should be almost non-existent. It's just something, it gets some sort of alert. OK, you have 1 node less. Please get us another node or whatever. OK? And note that I don't know about what kind of system did it use. But for the system that I know of, failure handling, even the fast one, are in terms of 10 seconds, 15 seconds, half a minute, minutes. We want to reach a situation that you will not even notice it. Yes, some I/Os will get to, instead of 1 millisecond, to tens of milliseconds, even hundreds of milliseconds for short durations. But that's all. That's all of you get. We think that resiliency should be something much better that you get today in the existing enterprise level storage. Okay?
I have a question. It's a great story on all the resiliency and stuff like that. So far, fantastic presentation. Question: do you guys provide any kind of workload level QoS or anything like that on the front end?
Can you define workload level?
Well, giving throttling either throughput or IOPS per workload, per LUN, per whatever.
OK, we don't have LAN, it's file systems. So it's not implemented in the first release, but we are working on that. And there are 2 main levels that we see seems to be required. The one is client-based quality of service to limit and control how much, what with the level of performance that it's a kind of mainly cap that is required, is highly desired features that service provider wants. And the other thing is tenant level. Again, mainly due to service providers.
Enterprises, too, are doing that now.
Yeah.
Yes.
We're going to need file or folder level.
Yeah,
too.
file or folder level, absolutely.
Because the user level deals with the idiot in Microsoft Word who says, do a keyword search against these 4 billion files and find it for me. But for the throttle, but for this VM is demanding too much access to this VMDK. Yeah. It's not a logged-in client, and it's not the host, which is accessing 20 other VMs.
Yeah,
I totally agree, and VMDK is a different special case. By the way, you have to notice that in most cases when you talk about SDS and even modern filers, the application, the VM, the application node or the workload doesn't consume file system. It consumes virtual block that somehow is turned to be filed through the VMware stack. We can do that, but it's not what we hope that it will occur, because we attempt to provide file system and file level services directly to the VM, and we support that also in cloud and in VMware environment in very safe manner, because that provides you much better quality of service. For example, as you say, you can do namespace quality of service, not just for VMDKs, just for everything.
Yeah, no, the main driver that I'm seeing for my clients is more to control chargeback, to control the resource from a financial perspective, not a technical perspective.
Understand.
To make sure that no one, if a consumer is using more of the resource than others, that he gets charged more for that. Because IT, you're an OpEx model, your subscription and capacity. If you're costing me a certain amount per month, I want to be able to, give that chunk to this guy in the appropriate proportions. I don't want to just.
I understand that, and we heard that. We will start with client-based and tenant-based, because that's the first thing that we were required to do. But we heard also things like that. We heard also other things. For example, people want nowadays file-level tagging. So they want to provide us logic, and then we should tag their file, so they can decide if that file is whitelisted for mail delivery, for example. We heard a lot of
so they're asking you for object storage style extended metadata?
They hear they have objects, right?
Yeah, you can say that. You can say that. In fact, what we also see that they want to use as a kind of front end for large objects. They say, okay, we want to have applications. Most of our applications, of course, are written for file level, and file level is very manageable, but object is very efficient and scalable and very nice and trendy. So we want you to, and I think I'm getting back to, I didn't forget, getting back to the ILM story. And because we are working in file level, we can do ILM or HSM. I prefer the HSM.
Yeah, but nobody bought that, so we renamed it to ILM. And nobody bought that. And we're looking for a new name.
It was a mainframe term.
ILM.
Yeah, it was a mainframe term, and mainframe just got out of fashion. That's, I think, the only reason they invented the ILM. So we are doing ILM in file level or sub-file level, and objectize it in a kind of S3. It can be local S3 or can be remote S3, and we can also do that in addition or in combination of snapshot shipping. So you can combine snapshot, backup DR, and ILM on the same system.
Okay, having dealt with way too many ILM systems, there are two major problems. The first is file system metadata isn't enough information to make intelligent decisions about what gets placed where. And the second is what happens when somebody tries to access a file that has been migrated to the low-cost capacity tier, because the normal response is, well, we put in a stub and then we recall it. And then some idiot tries to do a keyword search across 10 million files, and all 10 million files get recalled, and the performance tier can't hold them all.
You are completely right, and therefore, by the way, when people want to do that, this kind of tiering, there is a cost to that. The cost is that they lose their persistent latency. Some objects will suffer from higher latency. That that is the trade-off. Again, everything is
No,
about trade-off.
that's the trade-off I'm willing to make.
Okay.
But I want
The
to-
metadata, you want the directory metadata, the inode, you want to be kept on the primary system.
Oh, either way, the inode has to be kept on the primary
Yes, so
system.
we completely agree.
But I don't want to copy the file from S3 to the primary system on read.
There's no need to do that.
I understand there's no need to do that. Okay. Tell that to everybody who's ever built an ILM system.
Yes,
So
They all do.
That's not our design.
Yes, it's not done by design, and in fact, we heard that if to do that or not to do that, meaning to do or staging or not this or pass through, is a kind of by itself a policy. For example, if you have a big data system and you want to do a big scan on something, on a kind of monthly report, you don't want, as you exactly said, you don't want to flash the primary system using that old data. In that case, you want our system to do a kind of gatewaying, meaning that we are reading it and get rid of it.
Yep.
But there are cases that you want to stage it back. So it's also one of the policies that you have to implement in a proper ILM system.
Okay, one suggestion to your policy state, if you look at SMB, if I open the file to write, recall it. If I open the file to read, don't.
That is a very good idea. Thank you.